Thank you all for coming. First on our agenda is the annex, and one of our gentlemen is on his way any moment. I think he's having trouble finding a parking spot. It's very full out there.
That was a challenge.
Do you want to go through and start going through the additionals while we wait? Does anybody want to? What are we waiting on? Go ahead and do the annex, or go through the, most of the additionals that we have are from the last meeting that we already gave tentative approval. We just need to give final approval. Does anybody want to go ahead and do those?
Yeah.
Yeah. He texted me. He said he would be here right now, so he should be walking in at any point. So. Okay, so the first one that we have actually is a new additional health department for $50,000 out of the 1159. That will leave 5,000 for additionals. This is for the scope of work for the building and department is moving to the Medic Way. Commissioners hired a project manager pending the council's approval. Brian, would you like to update the council?
Yep, so the additional was advertised for $50,000 because we didn't know the exact price at the time. The contract that the commissioners signed with R&D Builders to be the project manager is for $35,000. So that's really all we're asking for. He set out a draw schedule, so there's 5 per payment. So we'll request this $35,000 now, but we'll cover it over and finish payment throughout 2026 as items are completed.
Okay. Does
That's all I
anybody,
got. If you have questions.
anybody have any questions? All right, so we have an additional for $35,000 out of 1159. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Amanda made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Wayne second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have this or do
I
I?
do not have that.
Do you need it?
No, you're good.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Excuse me.
The sheriff's additional, we have $500 for the 1192 Sex and Violent Offender Fund. This is a new one to pay invoices for supplies, and I know I saw the sheriff somewhere. He's in the back row. Sir?
Hi,
Hi. Do you know anything about it?
I do not.
Okay. Christina, do you know anything about this one?
It's just one of their grant funds, and it's just appropriating $500 for their sex and violent offender fund.
Okay, so it's appropriating the money into the account. Do we have any other questions? All right, do I have a motion for approval? Jay made the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Carrie second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. The next one, the next 3, we have tentative approval from the last meeting. It's for $20,000 for the 1170, the lit fund, $40,000 for the 1233 lit fund, and $10,000 for the 1233 lit fund. Do I have any other questions? Do I have a motion for final approval?
So moved.
Amanda made the motion. Do I have a second? Carrie made the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the next one is an EMS additional request for $120,000 from the 1151, that for the health insurance premiums. Is this from the changes that were done? Okay,
Yeah, it's just that there was very high claims, so that hurt them at the beginning of the year, and then we are back to paying the same amount each month, but it is higher than what we have in the past, and it's all derived from claims.
okay. Do we have any other questions?
No.
Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Wayne made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Jay second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The next one is the commissioner's additional request for $26,400, which we gave tentative approval at our November meeting. This is just for the property and casualty insurance. Do I have any more questions? Do I have a motion for final approval?
So moved.
Carrie made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Wayne second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next one is for $3,551 for County General. We gave tentative approval at our last meeting. This is for repairs to the EMA vehicle. Do I have any other questions? Do I have final approval?
Just pretty.
Jay made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Amanda second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. The auditor's additional for $10,000 out of the 1131 sales disclosure fund. We gave tentative approval at our last meeting. Do I have any questions? Final approval? Do I have a motion?
I'll make,
Carrie made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Wayne second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the last one is for the Pie Coalition additional, which is a new one. It's $151 for the 1148 Pie Fund. Monthly payment of contractual labor increase $1667 for 9 months. Do we have anything to add to that one, Christina? Does anybody have any questions for that one? Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Amanda made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Wayne, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Well, that part went quick. Are you good? All right. I will, now we'll go back to the annex, and I'll turn that over to Dale.
Well, thank you. For those of you who haven't had part of your meeting, I'm Dale Davis. I am the Director of Planning for Envoy. The county hired Envoy to be your owner's representative during construction. So what that means is I'm not here to build your project, I'm here to advise you and look out for the county's interests throughout the process.
Thank you. Thank you.
As interesting as the Dark Knight is, let's get this over. Presentation. So, to my side is a rendering of the proposed government center. It's a 26,000 square foot office building. It is a walkout basement type design. It's on the former school site, so the topography, the south door is at grade level, and the north door is also at grade level.
Even though it's two different levels.
Yes, and it's a two-story building. So I want to cover the purpose and need for this project, the design process. Vermont will cover the guaranteed maximum price and the cost that goes with that. And then we'll talk about next steps, and Baker Tilly and Ice Miller are also here to talk about the funding that goes with this project. So this is the project team. The team that pulled together the design, the team that pulled together the guaranteed maximum price. Vermont is your developer. They brought a design team of PPC Solutions, Etica, and Ratio. So work completed to date. In 2022, DLZ completed a space study on what it would take to move the non-judicial functions to an annex building. That space study, and it was just a space study, didn't lay out how it would work on the building. It was strictly thinking, we have this many people, we need this much space to accommodate them, ended in roughly 29,000 square feet of space. When this effort was taken, do you use the mic?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just got a message, nobody can hear you online.
Sorry about that.
Is your phone?
Is it on?
You tell me. All right, sorry about that. So as I said, the DLZ study was completed in 2022. It had identified a need of about 29,000 square feet. That study was handed over to the design team. They sat down with all the department leaders here in the county and reevaluated that. Thought through, is this still current? Some of the space needs for office actually went down because more modern office designs don't really have as huge of spaces for office, but the space needed for collaboration, the space needed for chambers, that all went up. In the end, we ended up with about 26,000 square feet. So what's the purpose and need? Well, staff space is full in this building. There's not a lot of meeting space in this building. This room is pretty much it. There is some structural implication with having the amount of storage happening in this building, as there's a lot of paper, there's a lot of weight that goes with that. This building just wasn't designed for that. Storage space, this goes with that paper. It's very limited in this building. It's in the hallways, it's in the corridors, it's in most corners that we can find.
It's off-site.
And there's also 3 storage units off-site. The extension office the soils office, those are located off-site as well. And when somebody comes here to do business, wants to work with the planning department, wants to work with, you know, the auditor, wants to work with any of these departments, they have to go through the same level of security as somebody going through the courts. So that slows down court operations, and it makes it less convenient for the public to come in and do their business here. There's no dedicated break space in this building, so anyone wanting to bring their lunch to work, there's fridges scattered throughout the building, but there's really nowhere for them to go. The court waiting is in the corridors. There's no real dedicated space for jury pool or anything like that. And there's no space for growth. This building has been well maintained. It looks nice, but it's full. I have some photos to illustrate some of these points. So you go up to the upper floors, see the file cabinets and the storage in the hallways. You come into, I believe this one was in the auditor's office. The offices are all back to back. So if anyone's on a phone call, if two people are on a phone call at the same time, it can be really hard to focus. This is the plat room, where all the transaction books are stored. So if somebody from the outside wants to come in and do property research, they are in your employee's space, which this employee space you'll see on a subsequent slide is also their break room. Going through the rest of the building, this is the courts floor. See the consultation rooms are in the hallway. The gathering spaces are in the hallway. This is the planning office. Everybody's sharing one room. So that leads us to our design. Want me to walk through it, Mitch? Okay. So this design has been pulled together by Etica and Ratio. These architecture firms work together to analyze your needs and what that would, entail for a building program. The goal was to give you something with lasting value. This is a steel and concrete building. Masonry exterior with steel panel. It will last test of time. So this is, I'll call it the second floor, but if you're walking in from the south, it appears to be the first floor. This is what we call the county square in the center. This is the central core of the building. If you come in as the public to do business with county offices, that's where you go. The transaction windows surround it, and this allows the ebb and flow of these departments to share the same space. So certain times of the year, certain departments are heavier than others. They have a line waiting for deadlines or certifications that can all flow into the same space, so it's really efficient layout. Your chambers is more than twice the size of this one, so ensure adequate seating. And there's space for growth. Also giving dedicated space for the transfer books I was talking about, so if somebody needs to come in and do property research, they're not in your employee's space. Same thing with the planning department. They get their own dedicated storage in the back. Veterans Affairs is given a dedicated area. You end up with a staff lounge and assessor's office, auditor's office.
If the crowd is larger than that chamber will accommodate, that west wall to the chamber, which faces out on the county square, is glass.
Yes, from here to here is glass.
Sound piped out there, so you can accommodate even more of the public being able to participate in the event if you need it without creating.
So if you have something that's particularly well attended, you could bring more chairs out and people would not be left out of the conversation. Looking to the lower level, this large space is your shell space. That's for future growth. It's also for storage of those records I was talking about that are currently housed off-site. Your soil and extension office would locate in the bottom floor, so those would be brought back into a county-owned building. Right now, the soils office is actually in a federal building, so during the federal shutdown, they didn't have a home. So
No, they were there.
they were?
Yeah,
Okay.
the county, they never shut the soil office.
Okay. Title 4D is located in the center of the building. There's a multi-purpose room for the extension office and their programs. It has a functional kitchen, and this is configurable furniture for if you want to use the room for more than the educational purpose. So some renderings of the space. This is looking through the county square as you walk in. Your chambers is here to the edge of the
Coming in
page.
from the south.
Yes. Here's a better look at that county square. You can see some of the transaction windows. That's looking into the county square, so if this, or into the chambers from the county square, so if it was a particularly busy meeting, there would be visibility into the room. This is what that chamber space would look like. The staff lounge. And to show what the inside of an office space would look like, this is the backside of a transaction window. This one's in the auditor space, but they all are designed the same.
So that's looking out into the county square.
Correct,
So
it's
you come
looking
to
from in the office
looking out
space.
into that common space, and the customers come up to those counters for service.
And each of these transaction windows have slidable glass partitions, so they can be secured after hours if they're like this, if there is an after hours meeting. And this is the multipurpose room.
It's a range hood overhead there.
Correct, for the cooking demonstrations. So I will turn it over to Mitch from Garmong to talk through the design progress.
Thanks. Yeah, my name is Mitch Hannum with Garmong, and here to represent the development team. First off, just wanted to kind of go through a little bit of the historical timeline from a budget perspective of where we started and where we are today. So originally, when we first looked at the larger square footage based on the DLZ plan, the original budget was just shy of 19 million. These are total costs, so this does cover construction, design, furniture, basically the all-in project cost. Yeah.
Question, does that 18.9 include the owner's rep number as well?
Correct, yeah. All-in project costs, yep.
Comparing apples to apples.
Yep. So at the joint meeting we had several months ago, the expectation was laid out for us that the building needed to be under the $16 million total cost target. We went back to the drawing board with the design team and redesigned a handful of things. Came back at the next budget checkpoint of basically halfway to our target, 17.7. Continued to work with the team to right size the scope, make sure that we were providing the appropriate level of finishes, a handful of other things to make sure that we were continuing to drive that cost towards the target. And as we stand here today, we're presenting a $15.8 million total project cost. So everything that you just saw through that design presentation is included there. I think the next slide here, kind of breaks down a little bit of that 15.8 number. So it includes all of the construction costs, all of the design fees, all of the owner's rep. It includes owner's controlled allowances. So for both the furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So we don't have all the furniture picked out yet, but we've carried approximately $280,000 worth of new furniture that will be needed to move into the space on day one. And it also includes a $500,000 owner-controlled contingency amount. So if anything were to change along the course of the project, those funds are completely at the discretion of the county, not controlled by us. And any of those unspent dollars at the end of the project would be returned. Trying to think about what else.
And I want to highlight that we also included a line for the construction utilities. In the roles and responsibilities that Garmong pulled together, what remains on the county is utilities during construction. That's very common during this part of the process, but we wanted to make sure you had money earmarked for that. So this is a number that Garmong and I and Envoy just both agreed on.
Also, that 15.8 includes, that's the total minus whatever bond or lawyer fees and so forth.
And it includes expenditures to date.
That's my point. The county's already paid part of that bill in terms of services that have been rendered already.
Any questions for us so far?
So if that includes what we've spent so far, what's the actual cost that we would have to be moving forward with for financing?
Yeah.
And then, another thing, I know when we originally started talking about this, we talked about the, like, sewage system couldn't handle it, and we would have to do a retention pond. Have we looked into that? Have we determined, is there a cost for that?
Yeah, so that has to do with the stormwater drainage on the site, and there is a what is called a dry detention pond included on the site. Effectively, what that does is it will slow down the release of stormwater, rainwater, throughout the course of the during a rain event. So yes, that is factored into this price.
And the project team has already got approval from the city with these standards.
Yeah, this design process has gone through their whole process, and actually we've already been issued the building permit, which
Well,
we don't need yet, but.
particularly for some of the new folks, when we started this process.
So
early
Phil's
on.
part of the committee in case for
And
anybody.
maybe we need to
that's
list who's on the design team. That was one of my questions I
Well-
had. There might be people that don't know who all was on that design team, and they've been meeting for several years. And if we can give a rundown of who's on the design team would be
new.
helpful.
So for the council, I was on the design team. Phil Gick is on the design team. The auditor, Christina, is on the design team. Commissioner, Mr. Woodall back there was on the design team. Jim Inslee, as the county attorney, was on the design team. Am I forgetting anybody else? That's it. Go ahead, Phil. Sorry.
Pardon?
Phil forgot what he was gonna say.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What were we talking about anyway?
The expenditures to date, I believe,
Yes.
which is roughly $790,000 have been put towards the project today.
So far, year to date, we spent $823,419.81. We currently have $1,449,385.11 left in the annex fund.
For clarification, I think some of that 800 and some thousand was for some of their services too, right? Was that all for design or some has been paid for? Some has been paid. Right. My point being, I'm trying to keep it apples to apples. Most of that is to these two entities, but it is true the lending part of that is gone.
There was a $25,000 bill for Baker Tilly and a $9,419 bill. So yeah, those are your two numbers you're looking for, man.
If there's no other questions, the next up is the financing piece.
Jason Simler with Baker Tilly, serving as the financial advisor for the county. In front of you, I handed out a report with the date of December 15th. These are very similar schedules that we went over a couple of weeks ago. If you remember, we were kind of getting the council up to date on the project and the estimated cost before the guaranteed maximum price had been determined. I was in front of you kind of going over some preliminary schedules, talking about some alternatives. So we've updated these schedules with the numbers that you have, or that you just saw before you. So if you turn to page 2, if you remember a couple weeks ago when I was in front of you, we were looking at a project cost of about $16,295,000. As was just mentioned, now the project, based upon the bids that we received, was $15,802,000. So it's really going to be the change that you've seen from the prior schedules that we talked about. I'm still showing interest during construction. So again, while the project is under construction, we'll need to be paying, interest on whoever purchases these bonds. If the project goes forward, that's about $670,000. We've talked about that could be eliminated if we decided we wanted to use cash on hand to make the next 3 payments. Because as we talked about, We're planning on paying back this bond if it goes forward with property taxes. So it'd be a new tax in place. It's too late to get a new tax in place for 2026. If we wanted to do that, we'd have to close on these bonds before the end of the year. That's not possible. So we either have to use cash on hand from your existing budget or just capitalize, or you basically use bond proceeds to pay interest during that time period. So right now we've assumed, right now we're going to basically fund that interest, which is the next 3 payments of construction, from bond proceeds. And the next 2 line items there are just fees. If we decide to sell these through an open market, typically the bond purchaser will require some upfront fee. We've allowed for 1%. My guess is it would be something less than that, but again, being conservative, I put in 1%. And then we have costs for contingencies and bond costs of about $300,000. So the total project of the construction costs, architect, engineer, and all the bond-related costs is about $16,915,000. If you look at the below, as we talked about, the county has been funding this project for a number of years, anticipating that you would go forward with it. I'm showing $2,220,000. As mentioned, there's about $2,270,000 if you go back to 2024. Less that, we would need to borrow about $14,695,000. I think my number a couple weeks ago was a little over $15 million. But again, with the reduced cost, now we're anticipating not needing to borrow as much. I guess before I go any further, any questions on the cost? And I guess I would just reiterate, as was mentioned, that $2,220,000, already about $800,000 of that has been spent to date on costs related towards the project. If not, based upon the conversations that we had a couple of weeks ago, I'm showing what that $14,695,000 repayment would look like over a 10-year period. And we showed, 10, 15, I think 18, 20-year options, and we discussed trying to shorten it up to reduce the amount of interest that would be paid over the life of the bonds, and then also anticipating that you may have some future projects coming along, try to get this paid off as quickly as possible so we could start having some funds available for those projects. As you can see on the far right is kind of the annual payment. In 2026, next year's budget, we're anticipating, again, nothing would be owed because we're funding that interest from the bond proceeds, borrowing the money. So then your first payment wouldn't be due to the 2027 budget. It's about a half year's payment of $1 million. And then after that, to be about a $2 million annual payment, a little over $2 million. As we talked about, the security behind paying these bonds back would be property taxes. So if we were to pay, the full amount, $2 million, strictly from a new tax rate from property taxes, we would need, based upon the tax base of the county for 2026, we would need to raise an additional tax rate of a little over 8 cents. And that's on page 4. Now, again, we've talked about you have the option of using other revenues of the county to make that annual payment. If you have additional local income taxes, if you have other additional revenues of the county that you don't need to fund your budget, you could apply it towards this annual payment and reduce the amount that we need to levy. But to kind of show the maximum impact to the county and the taxpayers, I've assumed there's no additional revenue used. It's all be from a new tax. And you can see there an 8-cent tax on a home of about $205,000. If you have a gross assessed value home worth that amount, that taxpayer would see potentially a $51, almost $52 property tax increase to their annual property taxes. That's for those people who aren't hitting the caps, the circuit breaker caps. If you remember, if you're at the 1% for homeowners, like if you live in Greencastle, you're probably at your cap. So it doesn't matter that your tax bill is going to go up 8 cents. You're not going to pay any more in property taxes. It just increases the circuit breaker losses. But if you're not at the cap, then you can see, a $300,000 home, potential $75 annual increase in their property taxes. For 1 acre of farmland, about $1.18. And then I've also showed a $100,000 business. They would see the full impact of about $83. So again, slightly less than what we were showing a couple of weeks ago, just because the project has decreased slightly, and so has the bond. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I think something else that was talked about as far as the financing a couple weeks ago is I know the county had been approached by some local banks about assisting with the financing. So we've reached out to all 4 banks that have shown interest, received some information from one bank, and are waiting to hear back from the other 3. So once we get that information.
That one bank was representing all of us. You talked to Michael Frank.
Yes, he's representing 3, and then we talked to another bank as well. So once we get that information, we'll provide that to the county as well. Be happy to answer any other questions.
I guess for me, I still stand how I was last month. When we all met, we agreed that we would finance $13 million, and now we are at 14.7. So that's a big difference. So not to beat a dead horse, because I feel like I bring this up every time, I just wasn't sure why we had the meeting to not actually do the agreed price.
I wanna add, Mitch, you guys have, bid all of this stuff out. I know we talked about that yesterday during the commissioners meeting.
Yeah, thanks. So I skipped over that, so I apologize. But part of the last step of our process was to publicly bid the project. We received over 70 different individual bids from contractors. Several bid categories had 9. We had 6 electrical numbers. I mean, it was very, very good participation. So a lot of interest shown in this project, and gave our team a lot of confidence in the final price. We did have, so A. Huber would be awarded the mechanical. So from a local perspective, we had local contractor participation as well, and I would expect that to flow into material suppliers. So again, a very competitive process, and was reflective of interest in the job and working inside this community.
So that's a measure of certainty about in terms of the pricing you're getting. The other point I was gonna bring up, when we started out this process, when you're under state statute, there are different points when you can say, I wanna get a guaranteed maximum price from the developer. It was the committee's decision. We had some discussions with the council at the start. We wanted to get through the design process, not some way midway through, because we wanted to rule out as much mystery or chance of the price being high. The more uncertainty the developer has, the earlier in the design process, the more they're going to cover their bases.
Price the unknown, yes.
Yeah. So we've gone through all of the design process, and part of that process, I mean, yes, the square footage changed, and they did some numbers drills, but also the committee made some material changes, decisions. So this has steel on the outside now. Originally, it was brick, and it's very aesthetically pleasing, but it's also more labor intensive, and the overall cost is higher to go that route. So without building a pole barn, we tried to make choices that would give us a better price and still meet the needs of, servicing the offices and servicing the public. So anyway, just want to give that a little background.
Right, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, I just feel like at this point, we should have a total price. If we're agreeing to funding and saying what we're gonna do, now we're saying that different bids could pose different prices.
No.
No.
They got the bids. They
No.
have the bids. They bid out. They have
The
the
Yeah.
bids.
bidders
Sorry.
that gave them a response, those prices are good until the 22nd of December. They're obligated to live up to those prices, and the price they're giving us, they're obligated to live up to. I guess in truth in lending, a caveat is, if there are future tariffs, not tariffs that are already in place, but if something
Out of their
basically
control.
they can't control, there's a clause in there about that. But
and taking it and going this path that we did to get the total price at the end. That way we don't have hardly any addendums that we're gonna have to do. Like a lot of projects, they come back before the boards and say, hey, we have an addendum, we gotta add for another 100,000 because we weren't anticipating this. This already has a lot of that in there if there is problems that we have to have. If there's not, the commissioners did a resolution yesterday also so that they can recoup that money that is not spent, so that that money can go back. So that money that we don't spend at the end of this can go back into the annex fund to do modifications to the courthouse, you know, or whatever needs to be done. That money is recouped, we keep it. It's not, you know, just money wasted and out the door either.
And that tariff risk has been mitigated, like Mitch mentioned earlier. There is $500,000 worth of county contingency that is
Built into the price.
unspent money, but committed money that can be used at the county's discretion. There's also
The furniture money.
280 for the
Yeah.
furniture. So there's a significant portion of money available for the county's direct direction. And that's not even at Vermont's control.
Like, for example, the auditor's office, they all have brand new furniture in there for their desk and everything, so they are taking their stuff with them, so there will be nothing extra spent on that part of that either. So we'll be saving money on a lot of that also.
Jason, can you speak to the allowances at 764,000, which is what they're talking about? If we can save a significant portion of that, how does that affect the tax rate? If you have to set the tax rate before you get the building built, like,
Well-
would it just adjust once it's completed, or?
You'd have two options. If you don't use the contingencies, you could reimburse yourself for that $2.2 million that I'm showing that you spent. You could reimburse yourself for not spending all the $2.2 million and then have that available for other projects like improvements here or at any discretion of the county. Or you could take what's left over, that unspent money, and apply that towards the bond payment. So instead of that first year, instead of being $1 million, you take that $700,000 and apply it towards that payment and only have to levy for $300,000. So then your first payment wouldn't be 4 cents, because it's half, it'd be maybe a penny. So you could apply that towards the bond payment and reduce the amount that you have to levy on the taxpayers in the county.
And we don't, I mean, we have lots of options when it comes to this. I mean, not a lot, but we have options as far as, you know, we have the banks, if they can give us good rates. We could possibly, it's been discussed, doing a construction loan to fund it that way, at least to start things off. And then if you get done with that, then we want to bond whatever might a little bit be left or whatever, we can do that at a lower rate. So, or, you know, do both, you know, and whatever the banks can help us with, and then whatever's left, bond it that way also. So we have multiple options of paths that we can look at also, going forward if we decide to go forward with this. Committee members, is there anything else, Rick, you want to add that I'm forgetting? I'm sure there's a lot.
No, so, we've gotta figure out, that there's construction things we're gonna have to do in this county. We're gonna need a jail, we know, in the next 10, 15 years, however long that is. I know the judge has brought up over the years about a judicial center. Instead of moving those offices, build an annex, build a judicial center and leave them here. Half a dozen, but, to me, looking at options like that, we look at the land where the current jail is. Trying to add on to that it's pretty much a non-buildable jail, non-expandable jail, the way it's built and the land that's around it. So, then we're looking at starting from scratch, you know, you look at, I looked up, this week in Howard County, 115 bed jail is about $29-30 million. You know, which is what we currently have. You know, so a 250 bed jail is one of the options they looked at there too. Was somewhere in the was it 35, 40, 42 million. 42.
Yeah, Howard County is building a 660-bed jail. So based on those numbers, you're correct. You're correct though, because they're looking at $130 million. So if you extrapolate that down, you're right in the ballpark there with 30 and 50.
15,000 or so if you looked at a judicial center on top of that, based off these numbers. Is that another? So anyway, where I'm going with jail, we can't build anymore, because to the south is a floodplain, to the north is a highway, the only way you can go is east and west. And there's not enough room there, so we're gonna have to have an entire new land to build that all. So in my opinion, the annex makes the sense of leaving the clerks and the probation and the judicial here and doing the annex, and then when it comes time to build the jail here in however many years that is, then, and that's why I pushed for the 10-year to get the annex paid off so that we would have time to build a $30, $40, $50 million jail when that time comes. So, you know, the other thing of it is, if you do a 10-year, and every year, for instance, this year we made close to $800,000 off the interest in the county. If we take part of that or whatever to pay that $1 million payment, that takes that property tax down. You know, each year the council can use whatever money's left over or what extra interest and stuff to pay on this payment, so it's not the 100% burden. We have to assume, Jason does all the time, that we're going to do the 100% because that's the maximum of what the taxpayers are gonna pay, of everyone in this room, because we're all taxpayers. But, so those are options that we can do, you know.
I think it's safe to assume too that we will have extra money every year to
Understood.
put.
You're absolutely right. And we all know that we got this big white horse above us, this Senate Bill 1, that we don't have a clue what's gonna change next year and what's already changed. And everything, the meetings that we've had so far, we're gonna be fairly decent. We are gonna lose a little bit. We're gonna be able to make it up in other income tax that the townships and stuff and other places are gonna have to have, because theirs all change. But anyway, that's all I got, Phil.
Circling back, Jay, when you were talking about the 700, were you talking about the 280 for furniture and the 500, or were you talking about something different?
Yeah, I mean, they've got allowances of 761,000.
That's
Which I
what's in
think
there.
is,
That's what makes up that line.
the builder's got 264,000 or something, and the county's got 500,000 built in, is that correct?
Yeah.
It's not in these numbers, but I've seen that.
Well, the
It's
two,
not broken out there, it's in there,
Yeah.
it's in those numbers.
It's in the detail,
Yeah,
yes.
the 20-page detail that was emailed.
Did the design team have any kind of number for this building?
No, I have my thoughts about how to approach that, but,
That's still part of this number, isn't it?
yeah. No, it's not part of that number.
In my mind, it's still
Yeah,
part of
right,
this
it's
number.
something you need to consider. I mean,
Still money's got to be spent.
you know,
because
just the
of
guy on
this.
the street point of view, if I were doing it, I would take that annex fund, what's left, not liquidated, fund this without using those funds, so you'd have funds on hand that could be dedicated to whatever changes you need to make here. That would just be my approach.
But if we do that, you'll have to borrow more money,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's, yes, there's no zero sum game, yes. I'm just, like I said, that's not what's on the table. I'm just telling you
Right.
what
But
my
I mean,
approach.
if we did it
Yeah.
that way. And also, like, if we come to it, we need to talk to everybody.
Send it. Go ahead, Andy. What do you say?
So is this a guaranteed signed contract that you guys run into a problem, you show up with a T and N after an all would be on, it's another $275,000, you guys are gonna eat that cost? Or
yeah, I mean, this is an all-in number, right? The only thing that changes this is sun hitting the moon and, you know,
nobody does that, we want to worry about.
right, that's what I mean.
That's another reason why we chose this. There are other vehicles you could have gone with instead of the guaranteed maximum price approach. You have, it's a builder with.
Yeah, I mean, design, bid, build,
Yeah,
construction.
so there are different options the state allows a
Yeah, the,
community to take. We chose a bond
The-
because
the-
we get to a guaranteed maximum price, trying to eliminate the uncertainty that is involved with some of the other vehicles.
what I'll say is the largest advantage with this delivery method is that I own the design too. So if there's an error in the design, under a traditional delivery, you have a contractor and a designer that are fighting each other, and then I give you it, you go to the owner and I hand you a change order and you try to go get it from them. That's eliminated here because I own that design work. So if there's a problem,
He has the responsibility for the design.
Yeah.
Actually, we own the design.
yeah,
I would have asked this question yesterday, but I couldn't talk yesterday, so
sure,
I got my voice back today.
well, good.
And this next thing doesn't have anything to do with them at all. So have you guys figured out what the cost is going to be for the heat and electric and all of that, and extra custodians and security for this new building? And then we'll have 2 utility bills and all that to pay.
Well, we haven't, allowed any security part because there's not necessarily any security that will be needed at the other building, so there's not any security that's gonna be added. As far as like custodial stuff, I know Rick and I at one point have talked about looking at outsourcing the custodial side of things so that they come in, they clean, and they're done. Whether it be both buildings or one building, so those are different options that we can look at to see what we can do to downsize the needs of things that aren't being done or aren't needed.
So what's the estimate on electricity cost and all that?
I haven't,
We could provide it, yeah, I don't have that prepared with me today.
And we haven't talked about that.
We haven't talked recently about costs that are gonna be avoided. We have, what, 5 offices that are off-site that we're paying rent on or
Right.
something of that nature. So those are costs right now you're incurring
It's about $43,000.
that will not be incurred, getting down to the pennies and so forth, so.
The rent from the offices and the rent from the storage space that we're spending
Yeah.
on other
Yeah.
places, that will be eliminated.
Isn't that cost a lot less than building cost?
Yeah.
And do we have enough money to pay for the operating costs, wherever they may be, whether there is heating, electricity, and maintenance, and, whether we outsource the janitorial stuff or not? I mean, let's just hypothetically say it's gonna be, I don't know how much it costs to heat and cool this building, say all that together is $250,000 a year. Do we have that kind of money in our account to cover that?
There is revenue in the miscellaneous revenue that the county general has that we have in there, so there should be enough money allowed sitting in there to be able to fund the extra expenses, yes.
How much is it?
For the county general,
No, how much the money is in operate, to be able to operate this building? That's one of the things I wanna know.
I don't know those numbers. Christine, do you have a ballpark?
I mean, how much would it cost to operate the new building?
The new building will be less than this building because
Yes,
of the
I mean,
different heating
this
systems
building
and
takes up a
everything.
lot because it's an older building.
Right.
It
But
has
we'll
a
still
lot
have
of,
this
it's just
one.
like any other, like an old house, you lose a lot of the heat and the air.
And this building has significantly more common space than the new building.
But
It's
still
gonna
gonna
be a
cost the same.
cost to
Yeah.
operate this place.
There's gonna be a cost to operate any building that we decide to build, correct?
Right, we know what it is here now. What I'm asking is, these fellas ought to know how much on this size of a building is gonna be our electrical costs and our heating costs.
I don't
And they
know
come
that
in
today.
pretty sad, quite
Well, but no, he said he didn't have the numbers here because we hadn't discussed it. He said he could give us those answers.
They could give us a ballpark figure.
Yes.
And then I'm just saying, do we have enough money in the county general to pay for the operating costs? That's what I'm asking. Whatever, if it's gonna be $300,000, let's say there's gonna be two people down there to, do the janitorial type duties, and pay the electricity, pay the heat, and all that. I'm just throwing that number out. Do we have that kind of money left over every year to be able to pay this?
Yes. Simple answer is yes.
Okay. How much do we have?
Right now, the last few years, we've been putting $1 million in the rainy day fund. And we are sitting at approximately 38% of our operating budget. We have that aside for any additional contingencies in case we don't get our June settlement on time or December settlement. We have to be able to float at least 6 months of our payroll and our claims, and we have that money put back. The council's been frugal, and we are sitting financially well.
Can we have can you guys give us the exact numbers? That's all I'm asking.
I can give you a spreadsheet showing you for the council, are you talking about the county general? There's a spreadsheet that I give the council every month showing them how much money.
I think that's one of the questions that is unknown right now, though. It's never been addressed, the operating cost. That's the only thing I'm asking, is do we have enough money to do it? So, I mean, I know from the office holders come in, we ask for, our budgets, and you all are very good with us, there's no question about that, but we always are led to believe that there's already zero money. And if there is, that's great. I mean, I applaud you all, but I just kind of want to know what the number is, how much is it gonna cost to run electricity on this thing?
And Mitch can give us those numbers,
Mhm.
an
Yeah.
estimate of that. Is there any other questions?
How come this has never been put on a referendum?
This does not need to be put on a referendum.
Well, I think there's a lot of property taxpayers that's pretty unhappy the way it is right now.
Well, there's 2 public hearings that have been had by the commissioners, and nobody spoke up in either one of those. And we have over 50 signatures that are required that are in favor of being able to do this. And I personally was part of gathering those signatures. And people asked me questions, and nobody had any problems in wanting to sign it to be able to build the building.
You only have 50 people.
We have over 50, that was all that was required.
Yeah, that's hardly nothing. I mean,
But we've had the commissioners have had 2 public hearings, and nobody was at them to speak up against anything or
Well,
ask questions.
nobody even knows about these things.
I'm sorry, sir, they are public hearings. They've been
Well,
announced.
they're in the banner graphic, that nobody gets the banner graphic.
Actually,
And, I mean, you didn't put them on Facebook or anything like that. I didn't
the
know
county does
anything
not have
about
a
it.
Facebook website, I apologize.
I think we're in agreement that we need the building. The issue I'm having is the amount that we are spending on this building. And I have said that every meeting, and I will continue to say it, because I don't understand why we're having these special meetings to identify a budget, and we are still exceeding it by 1.7 million.
We've never set a budget. There was never a budget actually set.
I can assure you that the county and the commissioners all met at the EOC building, and
I'm
we
aware,
all
I was there.
identified that we did not want to exceed 15 million. That was the 2.2 million that we had, and we would finance 13 million. We were all there.
You're right, we
So
were.
how did we get to financing 14.7 on top of the 2 that we have? That puts us well over the 15 million. The math is not mathing. We were all there, and we all were in the same ballpark.
Is this a meeting that took place this year?
Yeah, it was a couple months ago.
Okay. The reason I ask is the commissioners and the council met at the end of last year, and the number that came out of that meeting was 16 million. So, I've not been on the council, but that was the number that came out at that point in time.
It was the end of February.
So, yeah, we decided that we would finance, everybody wanted to not exceed 15 million, and that included the 2.2 million that was already put aside for this. And so if the math is mathing, that's less than $13 million of financing, now we're at 14.7. Yeah. So that's what's not adding up for me, because 1.7 million is a big difference in the tax increase for the county.
Do you have the minutes from that meeting?
Saved. Trudy, what's our next step? Is there
I'm gonna defer to our advisors that we had paid very good money for as to what our next steps are. So Lisa, thank you.
Lisa?
Yes, you should have a resolution in front of you, a one-page resolution titled Resolution of the Putnam County Council Determining Need for the Project and Intent to Proceed. This sets forth that you did receive you are correct about 50 signatures. You have to have a supporting taxpayer petition with at least 50 verified signatures. The auditor has certified that you have 68 of those, so you've met statutory requirement from that perspective. So based on that, the statute then requires the council to consider this resolution of need.
And this doesn't say that we're doing anything, we're not stating that we're going with bonding or those numbers or anything like that, is that correct?
That's correct, you're just saying there is a need for this project, and you intend to proceed. How you proceed could be different if the structures change, if the banks come back with good rates and we change the whole structure. This doesn't impact that ability to do that.
Does anybody have any questions for any of this group?
How long will that take? Because if I understand it right, that price is good till December 22nd.
Correct.
Is that right?
It could,
The
it
bids.
could be good afterwards, but there's no guarantee.
Correct.
Till the 26th, the vendors that gave him prices, which he built his price on, have to honor it until the 22nd of December.
I think they put together what we, as a annex committee, asked them to. I feel like they got to the number that we set forth at the February meeting. I think that said she said on the price, but as Phil recalled from last year, I think we were comfortable with $16 million. But, I think it is a need for the county to add additional space. We can certainly go back and forth on whether it needs to be a judicial center or an annex or whatever, but bottom line, this building is not meeting the county's needs. So,
I don't wanna pay $1.10 an acre on extra farm ground either.
I don't either.
And everybody gets, the farmers are getting penalized for it, and people that just own the house aren't paying nothing compared to what some of these guys are gonna be paying
We're paying
in
house.
property tax.
Mine has more than doubled in the last 3 years.
That's not all our fault, I don't think.
I don't either.
That's
No.
the reassessment of
Legislation.
values, but I understand what you mean, Steve.
Carrie, Wayne?
I
Amanda?
do feel like we kick the can down the road, the number's just gonna get bigger. Has for several years.
Majority is a 16.
But I kinda feel like we need a roof and we're buying a car. I think we're gonna come back in a couple of years with another project. Then what we do?
I think that project will have to wait until this project's paid for, and, I mean, that's what we've done with the rest. When we built the highway department, you know, that was paid for, you know, after something else was done.
And it came at the expense of bridges and a lot of other things.
Well, those are two separate, in my opinion, those are two separate things there.
I would make a suggestion. Anytime you have a building loan you're paying off or bond or whatever, and you get to the end of it, like we did with the jail, I kept saying at that point in time, whatever we were spending on paying that bond off, we should have continued to set aside.
Correct.
Because you're gonna have future building needs. I'm sorry, it's just the nature of the beast. So even if you don't have a bill that day, you know, just keep putting that amount aside. That's the reason we had 2.2 to start with. So,
We sold the county home, and that money
yeah,
was put towards the annex.
500,000. The rest of it was
Have been accumulated a little at a time.
badgering the commissioners to put some aside out of the money each year so that,
The commissioners have been putting edit money back each year.
Yes, and and on the bridges, those weren't being taken care of. I mean, those have been kicked down the road, but
yeah.
That's been a problem since before I started here in 1993.
yeah,
It's a funding issue from the state, and it's different funding mechanisms.
yeah.
And it was your April 2nd meeting, you had a joint meeting, and I have the consensus. Rick asked each council and commissioner to give an amount that they would like to sit and see it around, and Wayne was 15 million, Andy was 10, Tom was 16 with the basement, Danny was 16 with the basement, Amanda was at 14 with the basement, Jay 16 with the basement, and Stephanie 16 with the basement.
Thank you. Wayne, questions, thoughts? Amanda, anything else? So we have a resolution before us. Do we have any questions about the resolution? And the resolution is just to determine if there is a need for this project. Do we have any questions, thoughts for Lisa to answer? Do I have a motion to approve the resolution? I'll make a motion to approve the resolution number 2025-12-16-1, resolution of the Putnam County Council determining need for project and intent to proceed. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No. If it's just to pursue, I lose.
This is just to establish that we need this project.
Well,
We've already voted.
but it doesn't say that we're,
We're not committing to any number, we're not
To
committing to any funding at any point of any which way, no. Correct, Lisa? This is just to say that there's a determination that we need this project. That is correct. So
I think we need something.
okay. So I have 3 to 3.
Doesn't pass, it takes 4.
So it was a 3 to 3, so it does not pass. So what is our, is there another step? Are we done? What do we do?
I will have to go back and look at the statute with respect to what else is required. If you vote no, then you haven't met that requirement, so I'll have to look back at that.
And then that means that the 22nd will be out the window also.
Yeah, we could, if we have another, if it's gonna be heard again, or if we need another day, we can go back and have conversations with various suppliers. I would imagine that one extension probably doesn't really impact, we would go back and negotiate pretty heavily and have people on their numbers for a single extension.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys all very much for your time and everything that you guys have done. I appreciate it.
You guys can't leave, you still have 2 things on your agenda.
I'm sorry,
You still have 2 things on
Oh, I
your
know.
agenda. Okay, just
I'm
making sure that,
waiting for a minute.
it's fine.
Okay, just for tonight? Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go. Next on our agenda is our minutes from the November 18th meeting. Are there any corrections or changes that anybody knows of? I have a motion for approval as presented. Do I have a second?
Who made that motion? I can't hear.
Carrie made the motion to approve and Amanda second.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Next, I have our appointments. I know Danny's not here. Do you want to continue with the appointments tonight, or do you guys want to wait and table it till the January meeting?
I'll keep the 3 I got. I'm
Okay.
working very well with those 3.
Okay,
We need to update the plan.
okay.
I stepped down.
Oh, that's true.
BZA appointment, so that's Kate's turn.
That's true.
Jay's not on planning commission, you said?
No, that's Kate. Remember, we appointed Kate because of all the changes?
Was there any other changes?
Well, Brian, what would you like to sit on? Because you have nothing at the moment. Danny has the EMA, we'll start at the top. You said, Wayne, you're gonna keep yours.
Yes.
The EMA and the LAPC, they just kind of go hand in hand, so Danny sits on both of those. The community corrections and the JRAC, they also are back-to-back meetings. I have those, and if somebody would like to take those, that would be great. I know you had talked about it at one point too. Those are in the daytime, those are at a 12 and a 1 o'clock meeting, that are quarterly. They don't meet very often, and they're pretty simple meetings, so if somebody would like those, that would be great too. Is there anything that you? There is, let's see, that's those, community corrections, EMS.
There is no EMS anymore.
Is it gone? See, where there's so long, we're eliminating things left and right. I attend most of the commissioners' meetings, somebody else can go too and sit in the meeting, but I'll be there for work anyway, so. The Putnam County Community Foundation, Jay,
Should've said that when I said.
do you wanna take that one?
Should've said no, when I would've been like, let's.
Okay.
It's not
The Humane Society one, do they ever meet? I know,
They have
and
not
I
met
haven't,
in 5 years,
yeah, that's what I thought.
Humane Society.
That's the sheriff's department.
Well, the previous sheriff basically dissolved it, said they didn't need to meet.
Mhm.
So the current sheriff said they were going to, they just never have.
Okay,
I don't know what's going on.
okay,
Jared would have to answer that, Tom.
okay. The West Central one, I'm fine with keeping. Carrie, you're on the Greencastle Putnam County Economic Development. Are you good with that one?
I've missed some
Oh, we all miss meetings, that's just part of it, it's okay,
awkward times.
I understand. The Health Department, Amanda?
Yeah.
Keep that one. Thrive, Carrie? Are you guys good? I know you buddy with each other.
We're tag teaming.
Do you wanna do my community corrections in the JRAC meetings? So, the community corrections. Yeah, that's right.
They do feed you.
Get involved.
Oh, I think I,
They do feed you.
They do feed you, yes, you do have lunch
Get
there.
lunch out of that deal.
Yes, you do. They meet here, at noon and 1 o'clock, they're back-to-back meetings. Community corrections is our adults, kind of probation type, it's not adult probation, but they all kind of go hand in hand. The JRAC is, a group, how do you explain that one? A group that they put, Phil? You've sat on that longer than I have.
They
JRAC.
They have some funding that comes with it, that the JRAC ends up making decisions on.
JRAC makes all our opioid.
Yes.
decisions.
So all the
I mean,
opioid,
there's benefit in terms of being able to help.
the
give
community
insight
that way
direction
also.
On that funding.
They're good ones to learn how the different departments work and set it on. And they're pretty simple ones. You don't have to do a lot of talking, I promise.
At JRAC, no,
They're both laid back
Okay.
meetings.
and there's usually lunch at one or
Yes,
the other,
they have
so.
lunch. So Brian's gonna take those over. Good. We've got you on the board now. Okay, does anybody have any other changes that need to be made or want to be made? And the Humane Society one, Jay and I will just leave that one. If they start having meetings, and we'll tag team it and try attending them. So do I have a motion for approval of the changes and for the appointments?
So moved.
Amanda made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Is this yours?
Wayne, second. All those in favor say aye. All right, thank you. And then we have the 2025-2026 aspiring board members, council appointed. So for the ABC board, their term, they do ends 26. So the only one on here is Holly Cook with the park board that ends 12/31 of 25, and she would like to serve another term. Does anybody have any questions or concerns or other appointments that they would like to put in place of there? Okay, do I have a motion to reappoint Holly Cook?
Make the motion.
All right, Wayne made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Wait, what?
Sorry. I was looking at the second one, sorry.
Okay, Wayne made the motion. Do I have a second? Thank you, Carrie. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, and the other ones, that one, Jane Bray, that one expires, I'm not reading right, it expires January of 26. Do we need to wait till then?
No,
Okay.
you don't have to wait till it expires, I mean,
Well, it just
the
says
new term
January,
will
so
start.
it's beginning or the end, so.
yeah, that's fine.
Reappointment, she would like to serve another term also, so Jane Bray for the ABC board. To have
What is
a
ABC?
alcohol and beverage. Do I have a motion for approval? Jay, do I have a second?
Second.
Amanda, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The Ricky Campbell for the Rochelle Library doesn't come up until July.
That's a little bit, maybe,
Yeah,
as long as we remember to do it in July.
Christina, please
I'll just put
remind
a
us.
reminder on your
Okay.
agenda.
Thank you. All right, that takes care of that. I think that is it. The county Christmas, courthouse Christmas party is, the 23rd at noon, correct, noon?
Yep.
At the, Putnam, or at the double, at the DePaul. Tara would like a head count for anybody of the council that would be able to attend.
Putnam Man is on vacation,
Yes.
we had to move,
So,
and it's actually gonna be cheaper.
hey,
And the food's in really good shape.
very good. Christina, I'll be there.
Okay. I'll let her know.
Okay, thank you.
And if any council members are coming, if you want, you can bring some, gift cards
Yes,
that we hand out to the employees, to
Yes.
do a raffle.
yes.
I'm supposed to do that.
I'll be at
We
work.
already got that done.
That one went to your spam folder.
Our next meeting will be January 20th at 6:30. Any other business to be discussed? Christina?
Prosecutor's budget.
Prosecutor's office, did you do that?
So during budget hearings, the prosecutor gave us, the two positions that he also pays out of his his pretrial. He's taken that out of the pretrial because in years past it was a supplement. It basically is part of their salary at this point, for so many years. He took it out of there, took it out of county general. We had discussed talking to him about having both of them done, one of them done. Do you want to leave it as is? It's submitted for both of them to come out of county general now. Just leave it as is moving forward since it's actual salaries and not a supplement, or, talk to him and ask him, say, hey, we would prefer you to only have one of these, or how would you like? The auditor's office is trying to get it determined so they can set payroll up for
It's
next
sitting
year.
in both budgets right now. I just
Yeah.
need to know which way you wanted to go so that I can do reduction in January and then let payroll know which accounts it needs to come out of.
Right,
So part of their salary was coming out of the pretrial diversion?
correct.
So where is that, so they just want us to pay it all now?
Yes,
So what are they doing with that money?
it just sits there, and they spend it on whatever they need to.
Okay.
The discussion, because way back when, there was always a lot of money coming into that, from arrests and this, that, and the other. That has gone down over the years, so there's not as much money, but there's still some money still sitting there. Christina's looking up to see what's sitting in there.
And it used to be a supplement to the salary that the council gave.
Right.
Now, with the wage study, that's done away with, so it's not them getting a salary plus this 6,000 on top of it.
It's not taking the entire salary out of pretrial diversion and putting it on the county, it's just this like supplement.
It's the $6,000 for
Right.
them.
So just adding another, because it's for two positions, so adding us $12,000 to come out of county general instead of the.
Instead of the
And it's in the county general budget,
Right.
and the budgets have been approved.
Right.
I just need to know which
So we're
way to
not
go.
paying the full salary, it's just the $6,000 supplemental?
Yeah, because
extra.
we've been paying the majority out of county general
Anyway.
all along.
Yeah,
Okay. I think for consistency, we should have them both on it or not.
it makes it payroll
Yeah,
easier.
payroll easier instead of having it
Yeah,
separated.
It makes our life easier.
It does. I'm fine with it,
Yeah,
just to
just
leave
have
it out of,
consistency.
all out of county
Mhm.
general. Is anybody else, everybody else good with that? Jay,
I'm good.
you guys? Okay, Christina,
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
thank you guys. Anything else? Trudy,
No.
do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
I just want to bring to your attention, you guys, next meeting, in January, we're gonna be asking for, approximately $315,000 for a home system out of county garage. Tanks are going, not bad yet, but they're gonna get bad. all above ground too, so.
We'll own our own tanks.
Uh,
We own our own
yeah,
tanks.
we'll be, yeah, but we're, in these here, we'll own them too. Yeah, it's through K&W.
So vendors could be,
Yeah, we can buy fuel from whoever we want.
yeah,
We do a yearly fuel bid anyway.
right.
So I just head to us.
It's just, they're all underground, it's time, they're old enough, they're gonna start leaking sooner than later.
And right now, that way, it's not gonna cost us any money, because it's complete deal, you take the old tanks up, you fill everything.
When Andy made the motion, he said, asked to take the money out of county general, because all departments use the fuel tanks, not just the highway. Make, tell commissioners makes sense.
Okay, do I have a motion, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Amanda made the motion, I have a second.
I'll second it.
Wayne, second, all those in favor say aye. Thank you all.
You gotta sign this, don't you?
Yes. I gotta wait till Jay sends it back this way.
Oh.
That Sally ordinance, we just need
He
Brian
did,
to sign
I
it.
got it.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.